Hello friends, Namaskar, welcome. So friends, this is the first lesson from the volume 1. I know many of you have been waiting for the sessions to start from the volume 1. But I first wanted to cover the major chapters of the volume 2. The reason was very simple. In the prelims examination, the question will be coming from the volume 2, not from the volume 1. Volume 1 is more of analytical nature, so you can use this volume 1 in your mains paper, in your interview. But for the prelims examination, I do not find any importance out of this volume 1. But still, we will discuss and we'll cover this entire chapter. And we never know that UPSC might ask a couple of questions from this economic survey as well. Or maybe we can use the information that we gather from the volume 1 in eliminating or selecting some options in the prelims examination as well. So friends, first of all, what is the coverage of volume 1? So volume 1 covers the analysis part. It gives the view of the Ministry of Finance, that how the current issues can be resolved, how India can become a $5 trillion economy, what should be done to improve the ease of doing business, what should be done to improve the banking sector. So you will find a lot of suggestions, lot of analysis, lot of information over here. In this session, I am starting with the chapter number 1. So the chapter number 1, the title of the chapter number 1 is Wealth Creation, the Invisible Hands Supported by the Hand of Trust. Right? So again, wealth creation, the invisible hand supported by the hand of trust. So here you can see there are 3 keywords. First, wealth creation. So we will talk about why wealth creation is important. Is wealth creation really important? Second, what is the meaning of invisible hand and what is the role of invisible hand? And third, the hand of trust. So we will see what is the meaning of hand of trust. And friends, this chapter builds upon the objective of $5 trillion economy. So in India, we have decided that we will aim to become $5 trillion economy. So for that, we have to have something. So friends, when we are having some future target, when we have created our future, then we start looking into that what is the gap between the future that I envision for myself and the present reality where I am. Right? So this is how we work. Similarly, when we have decided that we want to be $5 trillion economy, then we can see that what are the gaps which are visible. So the gaps we are talking about, we will cover in this lesson, right? So first of all, what will be the coverage of this session? In this lesson, we will be covering first why wealth creation is important, wealth creation through invisible hand, instruments of wealth creation, how there has been a breach of trust, enabling trust as a public good. So these 3 points, they focus upon trust, and these 3 points, they focus upon wealth creation through invisible hand. Then we will also discuss around 14 multiple choice questions, and finally we will also see the synopsis, right? So this is a comprehensive coverage. I have already given the PDF document of this questions, MCQs, as well as the crux material. So you can refer to that material when I will be covering this PowerPoint presentation. So first of all, about the economic survey. So which department issues the economic survey? So there are 5 departments in the Ministry of Finance. First is Department of Expenditure, which takes care of all the expenditure. Second is Department of Revenue, which takes care of the revenue, for example, the direct taxes and the other revenue. Third is the DIPAM, which takes care of the disinvestment, etc. Then we have Department of Financial Services, which takes care of the financial sector like banking sector. And finally we have the Department of Economic Affairs. So the economic survey is launched, or maybe launch is not the appropriate word. It is issued, or it is prepared by the Department of Economic Affairs. So if there is a question in the examination, which department of the Ministry of Finance prepares the economic survey? This is the Department of Economic Affairs. For this year, the theme of economic survey is wealth creation. So the theme of this year's economic survey is wealth creation, right? And the theme color of this year's economic survey cover page is the lavender color. This lavender color, this captures the synthesis of old ancient ideas with the contemporary realities. So in the entire discussion, we will look into what are the ancient ideas. We will go back to our traditions. We will go back to our the historical past. We will go back to our ancient texts like Arthashastra, Thirukural, etc. And we will see that what needs to be done in the present reality from that context, right? And all this knowledge you can use in your mains examination. In the mains examination, you can use in the paper 1 also, maybe in some society portion. In the paper 3, definitely you can use, maybe if not directly in the answer itself, maybe indirectly you can use as part of the introduction or as part of the conclusion. You can use the matter into the paper 4 also, because this year in this year economic survey, the ethical dimensions have also been focused. So you can even use the information and give the reference in the GS paper 4. And lastly, essay paper. In the essay paper, you can use a lot of ideas from this economic survey. These ideas are very logical, rational. They have the evidences, and you can use those in the essay. And finally, in the interview or the personality test, definitely there you can use all the ideas of this economic survey, right? So I have indicated that this economic survey is very, very useful for your mains examination. And the theme of this year's economic survey is wealth creation. The color is lavender, and it shows the contemporary evidence with the ancient ideas. Now, this is a very important diagram, and this diagram you must remember during your entire preparation, because this diagram represents the importance and the contribution of different world economies in the world economy. So we can see what is the contribution to world's GDP by major economies from 1st AD to 2003 AD. So in the last 2000 years, what has been the contribution of India, USA, China? If you know that, then you can use this fact at different places. So in this diagram, we can see this mustard color represents India. So in 1st AD, we can see the contribution of India. So 60% minus 20% is equal to 40% of the world economy was contributed by India. That means a lot. That means almost close to half of the world economy. That represents how huge contribution the Indian economy made in the 1st AD, right? And if we see over a period of time, especially after the 1820s, after the Britishers, they acquired the power, the drain of wealth resulted into reducing India's contribution in the world economy. And you can see as of now, this is even less than 10%. So the drain of wealth by the Britishers. What is the meaning of drain of wealth? That the economic policies of the British economy were formulated in such a way that they made India the supplier of raw material and importer of the finished goods. The value addition was done by the countries like UK, and they benefited from that value addition. They created the wealth, they created the jobs for their people, they earned a lot of profit. So that drain of wealth actually reduced India's contribution to the global economy, right? And at this point we are contributing even less than 10%. That means one thing is very clear, that our potential has been very, very high. It is just that we are not using it appropriately. And this gives us an opportunity to look into that how we can contribute to the level of 40%, how we can achieve the past glory, right? So this was about India. The second major country we can see is China. Even China's contribution was approximately 30% in the first AD, and it increased up to even 35% in the 1700, and then it decreased suddenly in the 1950s, and finally China is moving towards achieving its past glory. China is moving towards achieving its past glory. Now USA. The contribution of USA was very, very less in 1850s itself, but it increased a lot, and you can see the contribution of USA economy is almost 20%, which is the highest one as of now. Right? So this gives a clear idea that during the last 2000 years there have been roller coaster ride for the economies, and the contribution of economies has been changing, and India has a very good opportunity in the future. So please remember this diagram. You can use this diagram in your interview, etc. Now, what is the importance of wealth creation? If I ask you, what is the importance of wealth creation? So sometime we say, sir, पैसा क्यों कमाना है? सब मोह माया है सर, आप इतनी फीस क्यों लेते हो? So I don't take much fees. I am offering this course at 51 rupees. But still, we always have a question that why to create the wealth? सब मोह माया है सर, बस 2 टाइम की रोटी खाओ और जिंदगी मस्ती से जियो. So friends, it is not the wealth creation which is the problem. The problem is not with the wealth creation. The problem is with the way in which we create the wealth. Right? So we will come to that. Right? Now, why wealth creation? So as I told you, in this economic survey, we will be discussing the contemporary realities in the background of ancient ideas. So if we go back to the ancient ideas, we refer to 2 important documents. One is Arthashastra, another is Thirukural. Arthashastra, you know, has been written by a very famous economist and thinker, that is Chanakya. And another is Thirukural, which is an ancient Tamil text. So Arthashastra as well as Thirukural, they point out that wealth creation is very, very crucial. So Arthashastra has said that if wealth is created, then it reduces the distress of person. And if we go back even to the ancient past, in the Indian tradition there are 4 goals or 4 पुरुषार्थ. तो 4 पुरुषार्थ अचीव करने की बात कही गई है. तो 4 पुरुषार्थ क्या है? फर्स्ट इज धर्म, सेकेंड इज अर्थ, थर्ड इज काम, and fourth is moksha. So these are the four important goals of any human creature in this world. Out of these four goals, one important goal is earth. So earth is nothing but wealth creation. So even wealth creation is supported by our ancient traditions, right? So one thing is very clear, that ancient traditions, they respect the wealth creation. Now coming to the India, the recent past. In India, we have been contributing a lot from first AD to around 1700 AD. But after that, the contribution started because of the drain of wealth. In 1947, we closed our economy because we were fearful that if we open our economy, we can be again controlled by the Britishers, right? So we decided that we will close the economy. We will regulate everything. So there was high level of license permit quota raj. And we also adopted socialism model. The socialism model says that the wealth belongs to everyone. First of all, why socialism was followed? The important reason behind following of socialism was that at the time of independence, the condition of economy was very miserable. Most of the sections of society, they were left behind from the mainstream economy. And the politicians, the government of the time, it wanted that each and every person should get equal share in the wealth of the country. So we adopted the socialism model. We gave more importance to the public sector undertakings. We supported them like anything. We allowed them to operate in the commercial enterprises, in the form of commercial enterprises. So be it in the steel sector, cement sector, oil and gas sector, electricity sector, in all the sectors, it was the public sector undertaking which were given the important role. So they were responsible for providing the capital goods, they were responsible for providing the jobs, they were responsible for providing the low cost products to the society. So they had a lot of social obligations. But in 1991, we realized that this socialism model has its limitations. These public sector undertakings started making a lot of losses. These public sector undertakings, their balance sheet became weak. Their management was, it became irresponsible, corrupt. They became inefficient because they started enjoying the monopoly position. There was no competition. There was no fear of new player coming and giving the competition. There was no focus upon efficiency. Finally, in 1991, we adopted the capitalism model along with the socialism model. So in 1991, we decided that we are no longer the socialist economy. We are a mixed economy. So we gave the free hand to the industry. We opened up the banking sector. We allowed the private sector into the banking sector. We reduced the role of public sector. We sold the ownership in the public sector undertaking to the private sector. So liberalization, privatization and globalization happened in 1991. And after 1991, when we adopted the free economy model, there has been a lot of progress. So this progress is visible in the form of GDP of country, GDP per capita of the country, and also in the Sensex. So after 1991, there has been a lot of wealth creation. So that became possible because of the operation of free economy. Friends, you might ask a question that why this free economy, despite being there for last almost 30 years, has not been successful to create the India as a $5 billion economy. So even if we have free economy, still there is lack of trust existing in the market. So you can see in the form of willful defaulters. So they are creating a lot of NPS for the banking sector. There have been audit failures. So the scams like Satyam scandal and non-scandal, they are the best example of audit failures. There have been governance failures. So because of all these failures, the trust of the public on the free economy has been reduced. So this point was also addressed in the economic survey of 1718. So economic survey of 1718 said that the problem is not with the privatization, the problem is not with the free economy, the problem is that we are not intervening at the right time. The problem is that we are so relaxed that we are not intervening at the right time. So that point is actually coming back in the first chapter here also. So directly or indirectly, the theme is being carried since the economic survey of 1718. Right? So coming back, the trust is missing. Trust is missing. So we have to work upon building the trust. This trust making is very, very important. Right? So in the background of all this discussion, now we will see what does this economic survey says. And the discussion that I did is from the economic survey only. So this is not my own theory. Don't think that I am sharing my own yarn. I am sharing everything from the economic survey. So I have shared it in the form of story so that you can take interest and you can understand the economic survey text in a much more meaningful way. Right? So the discussion that we will do now, we will see the assertions of the economic survey, evidences, examples, diagrams, and with that we can see that how the wealth can be created in India. So our age-old traditions have always celebrated wealth creation. It is evident from Kautilya's Arthashastra, which says that wealth creation is a worthy human pursuit. Even Thirukural gives Porul Pal, that is the essence of material wealth. The country has historically been a major wealth creator. So we see that in the first AD, the contribution of India was almost 40% of the world GDP. The country has historically been a major wealth creator and a significant contributor to the world GDP. India deviated from this model for several decades after independence, following the socialist model. So in 1947, we followed socialist model. We got deviated from the wealth creation because of our decision which we made at the time of independence. However, India returned back to these roots post economic liberalization in 1991, which resulted into increase in the GDP and Sensex. So let me make you comfortable with this discussion with a small timeline. So you can see from 1st AD to almost 1715 AD, the India's contribution was very, very high. India contribution was very, very high. After 1750 till 1950, there was drain of wealth. By the Britishers. From 1950 till 1990, we followed socialist model. In 1991, we opened our economy through the liberalization, privatization and globalization reforms. Right? And now we are in the 2020. So in these 20 years, there has been good level of GDP or wealth creation. Right? So This is the brief timeline that I wanted to indicate to you. Now, so in this diagram you can see Thirukural verse 754, wealth yields righteousness. So you can stand for something. It provides you some solid ground to stand for your own ideas. And joy, the wealth acquired capably. So this is very, very crucial. You should be capable to acquire the wealth without causing any harm. So you acquire the wealth but should not harm anyone. Should not harm anyone. So this should be the fundamental of our life too. We should aim to become a rich person, a wealthy person, a person with the power. No problem. The problem is not that we have a big goal. The problem starts the moment we start taking the shortcut to become a rich person, to become a wealthy person, to become a powerful person. So दोस्तों मैं यही बोलूंगा कि जिंदगी में शॉर्टकट नहीं करने. आप दूसरे के कंधे पे पैर रख के चलोगे तो दूसरे इंसान को पता होगा कि आपने उसके कंधे का प्रयोग किया है. तो अगर आप दूसरे के कंधों का प्रयोग करते हो तो उसको क्रेडिट दो, उसकी लाइफ को कंट्रीब्यूट करो. अगर आपको आईएएस बनने में आपके फादर कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं, आपकी मदर कंट्रीब्यूट करती हैं, तो ये मत सोचो कि यार ये तो उनका ऑब्लिगेशन है. उनका ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं है. उनका ऑब्लिगेशन था, उन्होंने आपको जन्म दिया, बस. उसके बाद में जो भी किया वो आपके लिए बोनस है. आपके पेरेंट्स को आप एक ग्रांटेड मत लो कि वो पैसा भेजते हैं मुझे मंथली, वो मुझे फीस देते हैं, आईएएस बन जाऊंगा तो उन्हीं का नाम रोशन होगा. ठीक है, उनका नाम रोशन होगा, लेकिन क्या आप उनको रिस्पेक्ट देते हो? क्या आप उनको एक्सप्रेस करते हो कि पापा आपकी वजह से मैं प्रिपरेशन कर रहा हूं, पापा मैं इतनी मेहनत करता हूं कि आपको गर्व होगा मेरे ऊपर. तो फ्रेंड्स, अपनी लाइफ में जो लोग हैं ना, उनको प्रिविलेज देना स्टार्ट करो. आपकी लाइफ में जो भी लोग हैं, आपके फ्रेंड्स हैं, आपके रिलेटिव्स हैं, आपके क्लोज वंस हैं, they should have a sense of privilege that they have you in your life. They should feel lucky. और इसके लिए कोई आपको बहुत मेहनत नहीं करनी होती, कोई आपको अपनी जेब नहीं खाली करनी होती. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप 24 घंटे उनके लिए हाथ जोड़ के खड़े रहोगे. सिर्फ एक चीज होती है कि उनको टाइम टू टाइम एक्नॉलेज करो, उनके कंट्रीब्यूशन को बताओ कि आपने ये मेरी लाइफ में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है. आई नो दैट यू हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड एंड आई रियली थैंक यू. फ्रेंड्स, उनके पास, किसी के पास पैसे की कमी नहीं है आज के समय में, वेल्थ की कमी नहीं है, लेकिन लोगों के पास एक्नॉलेजमेंट नहीं है. लोग थैंकफुल फील करना चाहते हैं. लोग चाहते हैं कि इन्होंने जिसके लिए जो भी किया वो उसको आके यार एक बार थैंक यू बोले, नॉट एज ए फॉर्मेलिटी बट रियली. सो दैट गिव्स ए सेंस ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन. आज के समय में पैसे की कमी नहीं है. हम हर किसी के पास में एक बेसिक नेसेसिटी फुलफिल करने के लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम है ही नहीं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी